Previously on Teen Wolf.
A quick update on the status of our Teen Wolf coverage. We are going to be switching off from Rachel as my co-host to Kristin. And we did start season 4. The reality of the situation was...
I hated it.
We kind of felt like a precedent had been set, and we didn't want to not be able to provide the content, the quality, what you guys had become accustomed to, and what you deserve, and what the show deserves.
I had a lot of fun with this, and I'm so glad that you guys enjoyed watching me watch it and experience it. And I just want to really drive home the fact that, like, I'm doing this for you because you don't want to watch me not like something.
She's doing you a kindness.
Yes.
And also, you're getting out while the getting's good. The Teen Wolf is a show that does this.
Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristin.
And this is So I'm Watching Teen Wolf, Season 4, Episode 1.
The Dark Moon.
Woo-woo! It's a different show. Yeah. I mean, and frankly, this is the third different show that it is of like 5.
Almost as many seasons as it has.
But not exactly.
Not exactly.
But it's not where you think.
Yeah, so we are still doing the watch-alongs. If you want to watch along with us, you can head on over to the Patreon at patreon.com/watching the and join the $3 watcher tier. I will be adding clips and stuff in as I see fit, and I might pull some of the reaction stuff and all that. So if there was something particularly good, which there was 1 or 2 things that you reacted to.
Is that him? Is that Derek?
Sort of.
Oh, right. Oh, my God. Me. I completely forgot. Shit. Let's go all the way to the end.
You remember Broad Strokes.
I do. So it's like I watched like about a year ago when the movie came out. I tried to watch a bunch of it, but I didn't get all of it, and I was skipping stuff.
You were also watching it while you were working,
and I was watching it while I was working. So I was trying, but I've missed and forgotten a lot of stuff because I have not watched this as many times as Will has.
Nora's just spent hours combing over the footage, trying to edit it in 4-second chunks so that the algorithm doesn't.
So that is basically where I'm at.
So, well, it was really funny because when the episode started, this episode, you were sort of like, I don't understand what's happening. And you were, I think, chalking it up to the fact that you're sort of diving in blind.
Yeah.
But I think more often than not, that's just the way the show works.
Sure. Well, okay, because the thing is I was like, but at the beginning of season 3, Derek is in Mexico. And I know that he was there to help them at the end of season 3. So, like, where is he now? Who's got him in Mexico now? And then I would, like, plumb forgot about Kate.
It is so often the case, at least for me, and it is part of loving Teen Wolf, is the places where you love it, the places where you hate it, and the places where you're very firmly in between.
Sure.
It's a real sliding scale, and it goes back and forth. But because I remember watching this episode live, and it was kind of like, huh,
yeah,
this is different.
Yeah.
This doesn't seem so bad.
It's not the town, it's the plan.
What's wrong with the plan?
This could be the stupidest plan we've ever come up with. You're aware of that, right?
I'm aware it's not our best.
We are going to die.
Yeah, you saying that as a banshee or just being pessimistic?
You know, I feel 2 ways about how this season starts. I do sort of like that it starts in its own little microcosm. Because, like, I think in the next episode, when we get back to Beacon Hills and we start meeting some of the newer characters, they start trickling in. And it always, I mean, Allison got a fantastic death scene.
Yeah.
And she got, I will say, a very good send-off. I think they possibly could have done it better, but I don't know what I would suggest.
I don't think so.
Because there's a time jump at the end of 3V.
This, IMDb says this is 3 weeks later.
Okay.
Yeah.
That feels shorter than
Well, okay. It says this season takes place 3 weeks after the season 3 finale. But I can't imagine there was like a huge time jump.
Regardless, there's like a gap in the last episode where
Yeah.
we like fast forward a little bit, and then in between
Because
the
like
last
Mr. Arjun and
episode,
Isaac are going.
Uh-huh. and then this, and in some ways I like that because it makes this feel like its own
Mhm.
story and its own season and its own thing. But there is, considering who Allison was and what she meant and what she represented, there is a part of me that feels like the show's kind of like good riddance. Like,
Okay, so I'm gonna actually disagree because if I'm remembering correctly, this is one of the shows that we have discussed it doing it really well, where like they don't ever forget that Allison existed.
That's true. That's true.
And the thing for me that I prefer about this approach is that I don't want to watch Teen Wolf while they are all in deep grief.
I don't
like,
want to watch that, but I think I was expecting it. So when I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, they're dancing in Mexico?
It's so Teen Wolf. I think we get 2 raves this season.
Oh, lucky us. That sounded sarcastic. I was being serious.
Well, okay, Kira didn't know Allison, and Malia doesn't give a shit. So, like, even still.
There's just like a full scene of Scott and Lydia and Styles just crying while Kira and Malia are like,
are you guys good? Like, what are we doing?
do you need another week?
No, I mean, like, I think there's certain shows that do, you know, that can carry something like that. I mean, to talk about something we're watching right now, House of the Dragon, like, that can carry a whole episode of trying to grieve. But it's like, this is sort of, that's not, I mean, it is dark. It's dark, but it's, like, also still very silly. Like, in less than 5 episodes, we're gonna get that scene of Peter and Derek and the fucking Reese's cups. And I kind of can't.
That was
already?
That was already.
All right. I was like looking ahead and I saw the young Peter guy again and I couldn't remember where that was. But regardless, it's like there's so many like silly things like that. And so to have just like Scott and Lydia just like weeping in grief over when we already saw that in the season 3 finale, I would find it.
Well, and that's why I said I was like, it's not so much that I wanted it, but it's that I was expecting it. And so, yeah, you know, all things considered, this is what I do want from a Teen Wolf episode.
Yeah.
Also, in Teen Wolf fashion, nobody knows what's going on, but that doesn't stop everybody from barreling through plots like a bull.
No, not like a bull, like a berserker in an underground cave system in Mexico.
Temple.
Where is it? Can you see it?
No, I don't know. I can't see anything. It's coming back. It's coming back.
Well, also, where is it? Because it's running at a full clip, and it has not encountered them.
Full speed ahead. Very Archie Andrews bent at the waist. Yeah.
Because the gang is in Mexico trying to find where Derek is. Yeah. And
because he hasn't been answering texts from Scott for weeks, and he has answered in the past at least one text from Scott before.
He hasn't gotten back to any of my texts. Derek ever return your texts? Once. Definitely once.
Which I found very
But
funny.
I love that where you were like, oh, this doesn't make sense, and then we get a flashback, and you're like, oh, okay. And the show does that all the time, but...
Well, I had completely forgotten about the Kate stuff in the season 3 finale.
So they go to, it's the Calaveras?
Calaveras, yeah.
They go to Abuela.
Yeah.
And she is like, oh, sweet, you're here. I was looking for you because I want to find out where Derek is.
Yeah. Yes, which is why Abuela, why the Calaveras, why they had Derek and Peter together as well. But then they got out of that. And so they've, I guess, known about Kate the whole time, but we have not known.
No.
Or like our heroes have not known. And so it's like a whole thing. And then, okay, this is the thing that annoys me because we get to the end and she is torturing Scott with electricity, making Kira do it too. So we've got mental anguish on top of physical torture.
Let's start at 1.
It's like the period pain simulators.
Yeah.
she's like doing it so that he will unlock the memory in his own mind that like it is possible to change somebody from a claw mark instead of a bite. And then she has the absolute audacity when he's like, why didn't you just tell me?
It's very Glinda.
And she's like, you wouldn't have believed me.
Why didn't you tell her before?
Because she wouldn't have believed me.
Are you out of your mind? You came down with a big bubble. I would have believed anything that you said.
And I was like, you listen up, you bitch. Like, this is unbelievable.
So because she is framed as like 2 parts antagonist, 1 part mentor.
Yeah.
And again, I don't hate it, but it does make some of the interim stuff feel a little bit.
Yeah, there's also
Not futile, but
no,
like,
futile is like not totally the wrong word. But there's also the moment where she's like,
she's also coaching Lydia.
Yeah, because she's like, well, this is all great now. Yay, thanks. Go find her. Here's Brayden. Have a good time. And then she's like, but if you ever bite anyone, I'm coming to find you. And I'm like, what is this like supernatural underground messaging system? Is it like in Twilight where like the Volturi just like find out? How is she in Mexico gonna find out that he bites somebody?
I mean, she works with Supernat. I don't know.
Yeah,
it checks for me. It checks for me. It just like I said, and this is part of the show. This is the case sometimes where there are episodes that are busy work.
Yeah,
there are episodes that are reverse engineered to get a like point out, and you're like, well, I mean, I had fun watching it, but also I didn't really need that.
Yeah, I like to call them peace movers.
Yeah,
peace movie episodes. It's just like everybody getting in the spot they need to be in for the next episode.
We did get a handful of things. One of the things that I do like about the time jump, however brief or long it was, is that we do get to skip, and again twice, into Malia's person lessons.
Yeah.
And I do like skipping, because it's like we've already watched Scott learn how to be a werewolf.
Yeah.
And like we've already watched, there's plenty of training. And so I like the shorthand of being halfway through it.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how her and Styles truly have the connection that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And just, you get the handful of jokes where it's like, this is progress. Like, this is...
Well, because she still is like...
I say when that door opens again, we take out whoever's standing in the way and run for it.
What about Lydia?
What about her?
I'm not leaving without her.
Why not?
Because we don't leave without people. Remember? We talked about this.
If she's injured and weak, I would leave her. And they're like, really? And she goes, well...
If hunting had been bad that season, I would eat her. Then I'd leave.
Believe it or not, that's progress.
Right, guys,
I mean... She literally was a coyote.
Then I would leave her.
And that's all very good. And then towards the end, when she's like, she tells Styles.
Like, I thought you were leaving.
I wouldn't leave without you.
Really?
I would never leave without you. Then I would leave.
Yeah. It's progress.
It's very funny.
And based on Lydia's reaction, this is sort of an ongoing.
Yeah, we've had this conversation before, for sure.
She's made it very clear where you know where you stand with Malia. I also
can be admirable.
I do appreciate the different strengths and weaknesses, because I liked how it was Malia who was teaching Kira how to dance.
Yeah.
I love the 2000s.
I want to be like, you have to toe the line. Sexy, but not too sexy. If you're too sexy, you're going to get all the attention.
And because at first I was like, that seems weird, but then on second thought, I was like, you know what, animal world, they, you know.
Well, okay, so I'll give you that she's more like innately comfortable with her body,
in tune with nature. Yeah.
But like, it's sexy dancing is specifically that I'm like, I know Kira's supposed to be awkward or whatever, but it's like Malia's been human again for like less than 6 months. This is like not working.
But she doesn't have shame. Like,
That's true.
Like, she doesn't care about being perceived.
Yeah, there's no inhibitions there. Yeah.
And I also think Kira is like canonically clumsy as well.
That's true. She's a little bit of a manic pixie dream girl.
I love Kira.
No, I love Kira. I think she's great.
We get the first, although they still haven't said the word. Well, they've said the word, but they didn't say it in this episode. We did get the first berserker.
Yeah.
That we've seen. I'll wait until we get, because we get plenty.
Yeah.
I'll wait to break it down until we get to that. Brayden showed back up.
Hey.
Oh, Brayden. Into the jungle.
You know her?
Brayden.
Right now, I'm the only one who's gonna take you to La Iglesia.
The church?
What's the church?
It's not a place you'll find God.
LOL.
Oh, it's so good.
I always liked Brayden, and this is like, it feels like the third time that she almost becomes a character. I feel like she's on this season a decent amount, but she is the type of character that it's sort of like an engine trying to turn over, or like a lawnmower trying to get started, where I'm like, ooh, this is good,
Yeah.
but then I feel like they never fully.
Yeah, this is season 4 is her most episodes, and then she's got 1, 2, 3 for like 8 in season 5. But she's in.
Oh, so yeah, she's in a decent amount.
She's in almost every episode of season 4.
So she picks up Scott, takes him to the church.
Yeah.
I forgot the word.
Iglesia.
Yeah. Takes him to the church. It was in a city that was destroyed, everything but the church, because it was built on an Aztec temple.
And it was very clearly one of those pesky Christian missionaries who came and set up a church.
And in there they find Derek? Question mark.
Sort of.
We did establish that Kate is back to being alive. This is a point of contention for some people. I love Kate.
We have a real soft spot for Jill Wagner.
I think she's so funny.
Sort of get it and sort of don't. I'm like very mixed.
I think she's very funny.
She is pretty funny.
And I also find she could have sexual chemistry with a tree trunk. There's just something about the way that she comes in and takes over whatever scene she's in.
Sure.
That I find it very funny. And again, it's terrible and it's vile, but because she's like a child predator.
Yeah, she really is.
I mean, he's like 14.
That's a predator!
Yeah. I'm not.
No, I understand.
And then she's just such a ballsy take for a character, and especially a female character.
So I think it's one of those things where I feel like they wrote it before they cast Jill Wagner.
Or before they were even fully sure what any of those words meant or what they planned on doing with her. It's like they wrote themselves into a corner and then just went with it. And they're like, don't think about it. Which, again, is also another staple. It's very, just let it.
Because, I suppose that in season 1, Kate could be supposed to be, like maybe 28 to Derek's 25. But
I think
Jill Wagner reads mid-30s.
Yeah.
Like, all the time.
It was, I forget, because we ran the numbers, and I forget, because I kind of just do that on purpose. I ignore it. Stuff I don't like about shows, I just ignore it. But again, it's not reality.
Yeah.
It's not the real world. That is awful and gross and a crime. But on TV, I find it to be a very interesting character choice, and especially given how they treat it.
Yeah.
It plays more so for comedy to me. Very that Kirsten Dunst gif where she's like, ooh.
Yeah.
And I find it to be a very
It also I feel like it was one of those things that we actually didn't put together until like a second or third watch, and then we were like, wait a minute, how old is Kate?
I'm trying to think if there was anything else. They worked on the Jeep, they fixed that.
Styles just taking things out. Hope I don't need it.
And hold this.
What's this?
I don't know, I'm hoping it's something important.
It's just pulling things out. Picks things up and puts them down.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, Abuela kind of coached Lydia a little bit. We are still very much getting we never really get. They spend a lot of time working on Lydia's powers, so we'll have plenty of time to talk about it.
Oh,
So-
well, Brayden gave Scott a bunch of crap about not kissing Kira, and, like, are you going to regret it if you didn't? Like, you should have kissed your girlfriend. It's really good.
Because she said the girlfriend.
Yeah.
He was like, well, she's not my... They are performing, they are acting like it, but...
I think you're right. They just haven't had, like, the talk about it.
No.
Yeah.
And you kind of get the sense that this is Kira's first time at the rodeo.
Yeah.
And while it's not Scott's first time at the rodeo,
It's his second
it's his
time.
second, and the first rodeo was a doozy.
Yeah.
So they're both head shy,
Yeah.
and
It works. I like it.
Mhm.
I think it's cute. Oh, and then it's Baby Derek. Yeah, they lifted him up at the end. It's Baby Derek again.
Good casting.
It is great casting. His name is Ian Nelson. I think he's great.
He looks like he looks like
Yeah.
Declan. So okay, we're gonna watch the next episode.
Bye.